In a rare case, a person in the United States has tested positive for bird flu.
Until now, bird flu had affected millions of birds and sea mammals worldwide, and most recently, cows in the United States. But now, a state official in Texas is saying a person has contracted bird flu after being in contact with dairy cows presumed to have the virus. Anyone else getting a sense of deja vu here? Well, here to tell us if there's anything to worry about is Head of Epidemiological Modelling at Monash University, Professor James Trower. Hello, James. Welcome to the show.
Hi, Ben.
Okay, so this case in Texas, what do we know, and should we assume that bird flu has jumped the species barrier again, this time onto humans?
Well, yes. Yes, it has, in that it seems that they've confirmed that this case originally was from bird flu and it's jumped over to humans. That is not what we're ultimately worried about. I suppose the thing that we're really concerned about is that it transmits and it begins to then transmit efficiently within humans so that people can continue to pass it on and we get chains of transmission and ultimately potentially a pandemic, and we're still some way away from that.
Yeah, right. So it's not so much a big concern that someone maybe has contracted it from contact with these dairy cows that have had the virus, but if it starts to spread from this human to other humans that they've been in contact with, then there is more of a reason for concern. But so what do we know about this current outbreak of bird flu and what it's done around the world?
Yeah, well, we know that there's been a lot of H5N1 going around multiple continents. In migratory birds, it's referred to as high pathogenicity avian influenza, which is because it causes severe flu in birds in particular, and it can lead to loss of livestock, and so it's been a significant problem in agriculture. But I think what we're concerned about here is that we could get a virus like this that jumps over to humans, establishes chains of transmissions in humans and is more severe. We haven't seen that yet, but that it is always a concern. And while we've got so much flu circulating around in birds, we do have to watch out for that.
Yeah, well, I was wondering, based on how viruses have spread in the past, is it inevitable that a virus like this will eventually reach humans and then be transmitted between humans?
Yes, it is. So, we've got a much more established precedent for flu than we do for COVID. Like COVID, I think, caught a lot of people blindsided, whereas for flu, we see it, not regularly, so that we can't really predict it, but we do see it every few decades. So 1919, 1957, 1968, 2009, we've seen these outbreaks where we've had a significant change to the virus's genetic makeup, and that's caused a pandemic. And it's inevitable that will happen again sometime. It's just a matter of when, yeah.
Yeah, so compared to, say, the novel coronavirus, which caught us on the hop, if bird flu does become something that humans have to deal with, would we be more prepared than we were for the COVID pandemic?
Well, yeah, I think so. And I guess we saw that in 2009 as well. We certainly got the vaccines out a lot faster than what we did for COVID, even though, COVID, we managed to break records for coronaviruses. But I guess when 2009 pandemic hit, we had an established pipeline. Every year we revise our flu vaccines and give them out particularly to high-risk groups. But we've got a process, and, the Southern Hemisphere watches what the Northern Hemisphere does and vice versa, and we adapt our vaccines so that we're ready every year. So I think and also, COVID's given us a kick up the pants as well. So we've got a whole load of infrastructure now that's developed to get ready for these new outbreaks of flu.
Yeah, and also be prepared for the weird political fallout, which was one thing that a lot of pandemic plans did not take into account before the COVID pandemic. But I think my takeaway here about this bird flu situation in America is be alert, not alarmed, and just keep an eye on what the authorities over there are saying, and we'll see where it goes from here. Professor James Trower from Monash University, thanks for being on the Nightly Five.
Thanks, Ben.